All right, next up on the Staten Island Express, what do we got here? Beauty, a Lexus. What is this? IS 300.
Yep.
Engine's this way, so it must be rear-wheel drive.
Yep.
3.5 liter, and we see it's direct injected and sequential fuel injection. 2 systems in 1 engine. And what are the symptoms, Corey? You had a little more experience with this car.
P0174.
Okay.
When it's cold, first start it up, it'll run P0174 sets, and it runs completely lean. Fuel trims max out, short term, long term. O2 sensors look like they're reporting normally. It's running lean, real lean, and then all of a sudden,
It switches.
as if you snap your fingers and it runs normal, and everything clears up.
Okay. Okay, very interesting. So symptoms-wise, since this thing has 2 fuel injection systems, it seems like when it switches from one to the other, the problem goes away.
Almost as if when it goes into maybe closed loop.
Yep, or...
I hadn't gotten that far, and that's why...
Yeah, open loop, closed loop. Well, it's in closed loop because it's the fuel trims are maxing out, right? So it's in closed loop there. However, it's probably still running on the sequential system, old school port injectors while it's warming up, right, Steve?
Yeah, definitely.
And then when it switches over to direct injection, then smooths out, and that system seems to work.
Yeah.
So how do we focus just on the sequential fuel injection system while it's cold?
And the variable is if you let it run a few minutes, it'll switch back again.
Okay, so maybe it like cleans the valves or something, and then it'll run crappy for a little bit.
Yeah.
Then it switches back to the other one.
We're not sure the theory of operation at the moment, but yeah, if you let it run for a few minutes, it'll, on its own, just all of a sudden, fuel trims will go wacky again.
Okay.
It'll run a little rough for a minute or 2, and then switch back.
Okay, awesome. So we can recreate it. Corey just pulled it out of the garage. It was running like crap.
Like poop.
Yep.
I've got
Like proper something.
Yeah. Okay, so again, we're narrowing it down just by the symptoms. A fueling issue, right? There's nothing wrong with the spark because it runs fine on the other fuel system.
Yeah, so I'm with port fueling issue, maybe carbon buildup on the back of the valves, something like that. You know, if the port fueling is not working on one cylinder, we might have a carbon buildup as well or something.
Okay.
So
now let's say the valves are carboned up or something. Why would it run smooth on the direct injected system? Compression would still be good, right?
Yeah. But with a cold engine, that amplifies any running problem, doesn't it, on a cold engine? So.
But would it switch over that fast?
Were you saying when it's warmed up and it switches over, it still runs crappy?
No.
I mean,
switches over, it smooths right
I mean,
out.
you smooth it out, but then once in a while it'll.
All the pits come right back to normal. All the trims come right back. Everything comes right back. The engine smooths right out. And then snap the fingers, it starts to stutter again.
It starts to stutter again. Engine's hot now.
Yep.
But then it does the same thing. Okay, so instantaneously. All right, so let's focus on the regular port fuel injection system. Maybe look up a wiring diagram and see if one of those injectors isn't working on bank 2 or something like that.
Maybe we can ramp test all the injectors.
If you ramp test it, if we see pintle humps and one of them sticking or something, we'll see it there. So one test can really give us a good baseline. Are all the injectors firing? Are all of them?
With one cylinder sync, so we know what we're looking at.
Yeah, we'll sync it. But we need to find that fuse.
And we're pretty certain it's on this side, so we're really only looking at...
Yeah, you gotta make sure which one's bank 1 and bank 2 here. We'll figure that out. And take it from there. And look, when you mind it, that's Russian. Warning. Alright, inside the Lexus, sure enough, we just have one code, P0174. But in this car, this code, I have a feeling, will not be as straightforward to diagnose as, say, like a Ford pickup truck or something. So let's just take a look at the freeze frame. And this thing apparently, let's see, freeze frame 2, displays pin data been captured before the code was set, after the code was set, when the code was set. Wow. So this is freeze frame to the next level. So we got 5 columns of freeze frame, and you know, if they're collected at almost the same time, it's going to be very similar across the board. So engine speed, it's at idle, we're looking at our fuel trims. So let's scroll down the list here. TPS, throttle is at 18%. And where is our fuel trims? Let's look at our oxygen sensors too. Bank 1, sensor 2. Sensor 2s are at 0. Air fuel ratio sensors. Sensor 1, 3.3. Sensor 2, 4.9. Again, pegged lean. See the current 1.81. Okay, so we want to make sure this is a real lean condition. Bank 1, short term, long term, right around 0. Look at that. Short and long term on bank 2, 20 and 32%. Crazy. It's adding fuel, it's dumping it in. I mean, that's huge. Now it's a V8, and I wonder on how many cylinders does it run. So all this stuff is there. We're not going to erase the code. We're just going to look at some data. I want to see a PID for which system is the car running on, the port fuel injection or the GDI. So let's poke around here, see what data we have, start up, see what it feels like. Do we have a 4-cylinder misfire? Is the whole bank being affected right away? Or does it wait for, if it's like a single injector problem, it'll kind of try to even out the mixture and then it affects the other cylinders? Because it wasn't just a single cylinder misfire. This car really runs poorly in certain situations. Okay, so there's an interesting data PID. It says injection way. It says port. The other one is direct. So that's cool. If we can correlate which system it's running while the problem is happening, that'll eliminate, the other injection system. So that's one thing that we want to look at. So I just want to start up the car with some data PIDs on here and see what happens. Alright, so here we go. Here's all our data. And we want to focus on this guy, injection way, port or direct. Got oxygen sensors on here, lambdas. So let's do it. Where's the, oh, here we go. So it runs pretty smooth right now. Ooh. It's an open loop. Keep that in mind. And it's running in direct actually. Oh, now it's running in port. Look at that fuel trim. Pegged out at 20. Long term number 2 is a 32. Now lambda, bank 2, sensor 1 is a 1.2. And a high lambda means it's running lean. It's trying to inject more fuel. It really feels a lot. It's not a single cylinder misfire.
Oh, that's a bank.
This is a whole bank.
Yeah, look at my hand shaking.
It's a whole bank. Super lean. So okay, that's good data. Save that. But when it's idling, it's not too bad. I mean, again, for a V8, it might be a little rough. But under load, terrible. Look at the RPM, it's going like 600. This thing's shaking. The question is it really lean, and are those injectors doing anything? How do we check if the injectors are doing anything, Steve?
Current ramping.
Current ramping,
Checks
okay.
the actual physical work of the electrical part of the injector.
I like it, I like it. Now, let's say, the fuse blew that fed the injectors. Would we get an injector circuit fault on the codes here?
you may or may not, depending on the DTC logging strategy or of the manufacturer.
Depends how smart the car is, basically, right?
Yeah.
So in that case, I mean, if the fuses are easy to get to and if they're split by bank, let's look at a wiring diagram and see if there's an easy test to do, see if these injectors are firing.
Yeah, that's it. We need to see that before we do anything else.
Okay. All right, on the wiring diagram, we have a fuse labeled P-Inj, which is all the port injectors, all 6 of them. If you look at page 2 and 3, so this black wire is the feed wire to both groups of the port injectors right here. We got 2 groups, black wire, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. 2, 4, 6, inboard side of left cylinder bank. This one, inboard side of right cylinder bank. So right bank is bank 1, left bank is bank 2. So we're worried about this bank right here. And my question is, can we sync off of one of the injectors? And if we get the firing order, we should be in good shape. Just want to see the ramps on all 6 injectors. All right, so we're on, pulled a P injector fuse. We got a current clamp, and we have a sync, and the sync is on the number 1 injector control wire. And then it's sequential. We'll see a sync, and then hopefully 6 pumps until the next sync. So go ahead, fire it up, Corey. See what it looks like. Okay. Put it in gear. Let it do its like. Oh yeah. Okay, put it in park. Let's analyze some data. All right. So we got a beautiful scope capture here. So the sync, the red trace is injector 1. Sure enough, it's opening, and there's the current ramp. What do we notice on the current ramps? Very interesting in terms of the pulse widths. So we got skinny, fat, skinny, fat, skinny, fat, skinny, fat. It keeps going and going and going. So every other injector is a wide pulse width, and then it's followed by a skinny pulse width. Now bank 1, that's cylinder 1 over there, that's skinny. That one is known good, well, as far as we know.
As far as we know.
Bank 2 is the one that's maxing out the fuel trims, trying to dump fuel in, and got fat pulse width. So every other one, I think, is bank 2. Now again, we didn't look up the firing order yet. We're just doing a preliminary scope capture to see if all these injectors are firing and how they're behaving. And we see indeed the car is trying to dump fuel into bank 2, those fat pulse widths. However, the injector is, there's a pintle hump, it's opening, it's just being held open a lot. However, the car seems to run really poorly. Now, the question is, can we trust the oxygen sensors in terms of how they're reporting? The lambda sensor, the downstreams don't even heat up early enough, and they're just showing zeros. So is it possible that this lambda sensor is just pegged high, which means, you know, the lambda is high, lean, computer's dumping fuel in, it runs like crap. So we need to focus on the sensor, make sure it's telling us the truth. All right, so with the engine off, both lambda sensors read 1.0. So let's focus on that. Actually, if we customize our data list, you can also see the milliamp. See, we don't care about O2 heater. O2 heater current value. No, I'm looking for the actual lambda and where are my milliamp readings here? Okay, let's start it up. See how fast these respond. That one goes up right away. This one goes to 1. This one's at 1.2, pegged instantly. I mean instantly. Crazy, right? Shut her off. Okay, so that sensor, bank 2 sensor 1, seems to be doing what it should. It comes back slowly down to 1. That's its like default happy state. As soon as we start it up, look at that, shoots up, boom, right away. Right away. Bank 1 sensor 1, it's rich. Now it goes back to stoichiometric. It's happy. This one is completely pegged out. Very, very interesting. And the injectors are being opened as much as they possibly can be. So, considering the engine runs so poorly, why don't we have any misfire codes on the whole bank? I just want to see, will this thing pick up misfires? I mean, it's shaking like crazy. Terrible. No misfires recorded. Okay, so the thought process. Bank 2 it runs really poorly on the port injection system. Once the direct injection system kicks in, engine runs smooth, so we're not worried about engine mechanical. We're not worried about the direct injection system, just the port. Why? On bank 2, and we see the injectors are opening really, really wide. It's really trying to add fuel. However, based on the sensor, it's running lean. You smell the exhaust? It doesn't smell like it's really rich, not blowing black smoke. So we need to do an injector drop test. Is there an easy way to do this? Well, in the scanner, in the functional test, we can cut injectors. So what I want to do is cut injector 1, see how the engine runs. Cut injector 2, see how the engine runs. Does it make a difference? Let's just give it a shot. So let's start it up. Continue. Again, I hope this is the port injectors. Okay, off. On. Yes, huge difference. Okay, exit. Let's try injector number 2. Continue. On. Off. On. Off. No difference. Crazy. That injector is not firing any fuel. Let's do number 4. Okay. On. Off. On. Off. This is insane. Let's do injector number 3. This one should be very clear. Clear difference. On. Yep. Look at the RPMs. Back up to 1,000. Off. Exit. Let's try number 6. Again, based on 2 and 4, no difference. Don't expect any. On, off. No difference. We could even hook up the Pico and see if we're missing a ramp. And last but not least, number 5. So right now it's running on 3 cylinders. On, boom. You can see the shake of the camera drop to 600 RPM. Absolutely, huge difference. When you hook up the Pico, see what's going on there. Indeed, if we shut off 2, 4, 6, that ramp should just go away. But those injectors are not delivering any fuel. That is my hypothesis right now. How do we prove that 100%? Alrighty. When we look at the firing order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, super easy. So let's roll it. Okay, 100% zoom. Start it up. Okay, there we go. Now let's cut an injector. We can't cut number 1, that's our sink. Let's cut number 2. And the cool way to sync this is trigger, auto, channel B. Let's drop our time base down. What happened to our pattern here? Wait a second, let me set this up again. So the problem here was it went to direct injector mode. Again, we're in reverse. It runs very smoothly. How do we get it back into port? Now let's just try cutting injector number 2. Continue. Yeah, should have let it cool down a little bit. On. Yeah, you can feel it. But we need to be in port mode, not here. Now it's in direct mode. How do we force it into port mode? We need to let it cool down, I guess. So at this point, we're throwing around the idea, could there be a blockage of fuel on the port system for bank 2?
That's where my money's going.
Steve was saying if it's a dead end,
Yeah.
you can have crap collecting in that rail, and maybe you got some bad gas, right? Get some water in there.
Yeah.
But man, it's just so bizarre to me that one bank is just disabled,
Yeah.
no fuel at all, and the other one runs fine.
Yeah.
Perfect fuel control.
Yeah. So, and again, like you said, with it being a returnless fuel system, anything that managed to get past a fuel filter,
Yeah.
so moisture, dirt, contaminants, it hasn't got anywhere to go, so it's just going to back up and build up.
True.
Especially if it's only been used for short stop-start journeys and things like that. You know, your current rampings prove that the pintles are moving.
Yes.
If there's no fuel delivery, it has to be the fuel coming in. Most likely scenario for that is a block basket in the top of the injector, isn't it?
I mean, we've exhausted pretty much all the other possibilities. Not engine mechanical, it runs fine on the other system.
Yeah, yeah.
Mechanically, the injectors are opening and closing.
Yeah.
We did the fuel cut. There's no change on bank 2 when you disable an injector. That's crazy. So let's try fuel cut for number 2 with the scope on. Hopefully it goes into the port injector mode. And so we're just gonna cut 2. It's back to its direct injection. It warmed up too much. I don't think you can force it into port.
No.
That's a shame. The party's getting started here.
Thank you, sir.
Quick work. So Keith has his master fuel pressure connector kit, which
Yes, you are in our
I
kit,
should
which I love.
I should invest in. But we have our pulsar set up. We're gonna check all the injectors. All we need is a fuel pressure gauge. That's the hard part on this car.
might have to get the deeper one than this. Let's see. This should be correct though. That is.
Sweet.
So I might have to just change this one adapter out. Should have a longer one. So with these long kits, or these big kits, they have too many adapters sometimes.
Can I help?
So they give you doubles of each.
So a longer one that will hook onto here.
Stem, yep. And if not,
Or you just sit there and
one
hold
of
it.
us is going to be holding it. Yep.
Yep.
We're currently in the process of doing drop test on the port fuel.
They
Here's
all,
the other style.
This is what you call
Yep, I'm holding it.
they all look the same.
Got it.
Okay.
We've got Keith, the new level auto. Got Ivan from Pine Hollow, who's filming the film, eh? Or am I filming the film, eh?
All right.
All right.
We've got Corey from S&A.
I'm just hanging out watching you, dear.
Yep.
And I've got Isaac.
Why don't we get
This
these
guy.
out of the way?
Yep.
Your gauge is set up on the side over there.
So we're putting our
Gauge where we can see it. Literally under pressure.
Are we under pressure, mate? How much pressure?
No,
have we
not
got?
yet, not yet. All right, so we're gonna go one by one. Injectors 2, 4, and 6. These are the control wires. We're just pulsing the ground. It has its own feed. So we're set up to do just that. Right there. And Keith is holding our line so it doesn't blow off. So what do? Just run the engine for a little bit, see what it builds up to, and shut it off?
You can certainly do that.
Ready?
Yep.
You steady?
All right, 60 psi.
Okay, and off.
That's 55.
Rest at where? 55?
Well, 54.
Okay, good enough. 54, let's hit the magic button and... Oh, come on.
Come on, magic button. What are we missing there?
Output. It just worked. We verified that it works.
Perhaps we just don't have contact here. Let's terminal, what do you think?
Oh, I need the key on.
Oh, you didn't have the key on.
To have the feed to the injector, key is on.
Okay.
Okay, now we got one red light and ready. 47.
54 to 47.
Okay, let's go to the next one. All kinds of fun stuff going off in the background. Okay, that's the next one. Let's should we start up again?
I think you can key off, key on again. I think you'll be fine.
Okay.
Get the prime right up.
Okay, key on. Did it prime?
No, it did not actually.
All right, let's start it up. And off. And key on. Okay. Starting at 54 again.
Yep.
Right around there. Hit the magic button. About 47. Okay, so that's consistent. Doesn't mean good. We still have to check one on the good bank. And last but not least, injector number 6. Same procedure.
I'm going to start off by saying, by the way, I've never seen a Toyota with only a 7 psi drop.
Okay, 54, and go for it. About 46.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go to number 1 now. That's accessible. Yeah. Yeah, it's got that push button. You gotta hold the pedal
That's trainbytext.com.
up there.
That's correct.
Okay, and you can shut her off, and then turn it back on so the check engine light comes on. Yep. Good.
You'll have to go to Ivan's channel, Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Go over and have a look for the video when Ivan's finished. Thanks for watching.
Moment of truth. See,
You're awesome.
54 down to
Don't say it, we're still live.
46.
What did you not hear about what he just said?
Don't say it.
I didn't hear anything.
So what I said was, I'm not going to.
All right, ignition's on. Injector number 3, dropping from 54 down to 46 to 47. So, pressure drop, flow test on the fuel injectors seems to be pretty consistent on bank 1 and bank 2. So what gives,
You
Keith?
see why you don't ask me questions?
Oh
You may
man.
not like the results.
That's our theory shot to pieces.
So yeah, our theory is now under fire. Yeah, we got to go further.
Do you think we're about to get schooled? Do you think we're about to get schooled by
I think
new
so.
level auto?
I think so. Big time. That's what we're here for.